Hello and welcome to another episode of Byron on the Rooftop, where we will be reviewing the Chimneys of Switzerland. Behind me is the beautiful, charming, and high elevation city of Zermatt, Switzerland, home of the Matterhorn. Come along and let's take a look. We're going to look at two different types of systems today. We're going to look at a freestanding wood stove system, a double entry, which is very unique. And we're also going to look at a traditional open style masonry fireplace inside of a 3-story wood structure. So join me today as we take a look at two different types of chimneys here in the Alps of Switzerland. And now onto this segment about the freestanding stove. Behind me is the system on the external view, going up and penetrating the eave and extending up above. They don't seem to fully honor the 2-3-10 rule here, but let's go take a look at the normal clearances you'll see and some unusual aspects of a T system. The first thing I notice as I approach is this. It looks like a small propane or gas line. It's actually a grounding instrument to ground this with a really neat pop riveted system. They're using full stainless steel 2x2 tubing, an extendable method here. I like the support mechanism. Again, the double buckle we saw before. We've got a nice water shroud around here. All the joints are riveted together. There's the actual T, so they almost have 5 full feet sticking down for convenience for the sweep. Going up under the eave, again, we've got another system, so it does look very unusual because we have two different systems venting into this one. And then up under the eave, they've got a 30-degree offset with a ceiling penetration clearance plate. And up at the top, we do see what we're seeing all over Switzerland here, which is sort of their high wind cap. It's got a double airflow system where the exhaust gases go up the middle and it brings in some of the ambient air to diffuse it near the top. Again, we train our eyes down. We see the first penetration on the second floor and then the second penetration here on the very ground floor, and the chimney continuing to extend down where the sweep would get into it and sweep. I'm very surprised to see a double entry point. You could do this on an American system, but it is strictly forbidden in the code for us to use two different appliances to vent into the same single tube if it's solid fuel. So again, very interesting. There's not a 2-3-10 rule really observed here either. So thanks for looking at the freestanding options. Behind me is the open style masonry fireplace, which we will build a fire in here shortly, since this is our Airbnb while we're staying here. Up on the slope behind me is the traditional Swiss chalet, which is a combination of concrete foundation structure, about 12-inch thick walls, which we see in the US, on which is built a wood frame structure. Some of these structures are over 150 years old. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. Again, this traditional Swiss chalet sports 3 floors and at least 3 masonry flues that exit out the top. Ours will be on the left-hand side. It's one of those 2 openings there. This is the home of the Jungfrau, the Eiger, and the Monk, 3 mountains that align each other behind the clouds behind this structure right now. All right, we are upstairs on the 3rd floor. Come on in, let's take a look at this masonry fireplace. So here's the 3rd floor Airbnb, and it's a corner style masonry fireplace. Comes with a little fire screen, a traditional log holder that's a little bit adjustable. Let's take a look up inside. It looks like it's about 24 by 20 as far as the horizontal footprint. They've got a traditional style damper here. In this case, they've got a nail in the wall and it raises and closes. And this is the lid style damper that just pivots. This is a little bit interesting. They've got a solid poured 8-inch thick lintel going across. I'm kind of looking vertically here. And over here on this top, 8 inches solid poured concrete as well. They do have like a fire rated brick, but traditional size masonry joints, not our tightly packed ones. This up here is solid concrete. It's a parge smoke chamber, very smooth, corbelling, and we'll try and get a better look up in there in just a moment. Now we're looking up through the throat of the damper, about as good of a view as I can get. They do have a very smooth smoke chamber. It's not parched, it's just laid, the brick is laid really smooth. They do have a gap in the mortar there, as you can probably see in the video. And then it goes over to the flue off to the extreme right. And then on the outside of the fireplace structure, I have noticed a little gap, a settling separation over here, just about an 1/8 inch at the bottom up to about, it looks worse in the video, but about 1/4 of an inch up at the top. So a little bit of a separation on the overall masonry structure between it and the building itself. We're going to go ahead and light a quick fire and see how this thing drafts. All right, so Verity went to the store. She bought our wood, and we've taken a small fire starter. We've got this made in Germany fire starter here, Flamino. And we broke one of these off. We put it in there and we ignited it to let it start burning just for the last 4 minutes, just to preheat the flue. Now we'll go ahead and take our store-bought wood and start cross-stacking. This will be an interesting fire because this is an extremely dense hardwood. This is not like the American gas station store wood where it's that soft white pine that's going to burn quick and easy. So I'm expecting a challenge to get this wood burning. It's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit out. We're at about 3,000 feet above sea level. So to give you a kind of reference, we have the door open right here, and we have a 20-foot vertical flue with a slight smoke chamber offset. So pretty straight system. We just need to get the heat signature built up. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with one piece down here on which I will set the my fire starters down here and get these guys burning up under my fuel load. Lots of smaller stuff. It's one thing I've noticed back here, the way they build fires is they definitely stack them. So if you can notice on this foot here, there's a ramp that sort of encourages you to build your fire in a shape that makes the wood continually fall back like into the fuel load. So it's kind of interesting. We'll see how that goes, starting against the back wall. A little bit of an aggressive fuel load. Get this guy positioned under there. All right, well, let's take a quick look at our fire. We're now only 10 minutes into this burn. Again, we have a 24 by 20 inch L-shaped firebox, which is notorious for not drafting properly, but we can look up inside here and see that those flames are staying very, very strong to the left side. If you look from this perspective, they're definitely staying in the corner. They're not leaning out at all. It's an excellent drafting flue up the middle of the home, going right up through the damper, sparks and everything. It's looking really good. We're going to have a nice fire this evening. Well, thanks for joining me this evening on a Byron on the Rooftop, where we look at a couple more Swiss homes and how they vent their solid fuel appliances out a single vent pipe, which is not permitted in the US, but they have very nice cleanouts. And then how they do a solid fuel burning open style fireplace with excellent drafting technique, excellent construction. And thank you for joining me, and I hope this was helpful to you in our journey around the world with chimneys. Behind me is an iconic, very classic Swiss chalet. Now, as we look around the back of this Swiss chalet, we can see that there is a solid fuel burning system that exits just below surface level in a little bit of a clean out area and ascends the side of the structure, which we saw a moment earlier. Now let's take a look at how they access their ash cleanouts here. So again, it's a subterranean exit, and this one hasn't been accessed in some time, justifying by, or looking at the amount of rock and debris. We've got some Firebricks here, so nice to know that they do use Firebricks here. But this is what I thought was interesting, is they have a quick release latch here to access the back of the T, and as you can imagine, your brush could just come in and go straight through and sweep that section. I've seen this now in Germany as well, so just keep your eyes open. Wouldn't that be a neat invention? I believe there's a hinge on the side over here. It's just tucked in a little hard. So you would unsnap this, remove the safety, unsnap this, swing it open, sweep the system, collect the ash, boom, put it back. They're welded seams here on this. I believe it's stainless steel that's been powder coated, has a tremendous good coupling. I'd also like to point out how the wall band works here. They have a 1-inch diameter piece of all thread that goes between the band, which is a very thick, this is almost 1/8 inch thick steel here, and then all the way to this welded support that gets 2 half-inch lags into the wall. So they can build this out as close or far as they need to. Looks like they've got a little bit of a clearance issue up under the eave, probably because snow has pushed it around. Snow is a tremendous force. I'll just show you how another adjacent mountain chalet is managing its snow collection on the roof. So this 4-inch diameter piece of pine has been cut and laid in those hooks, and it will rot out every few years. You have to put a new one up there. But this one has, again, the wind sensitive rotating chimney. They've got their year's wood supply. I'm guessing they have a very small wood stove because this wood is chopped about 2 inches in diameter, about 14 inches long. Again, we have a better view of the subterranean, in this case an exterior exit of this system. But you see that beautiful clean out door here with the 2 hinges on the right and the actually 2 buckles on the right and then 2 hinges on the left. So great system. I wish we had that for American chimneys right there. Again, over here we've got a masonry structure adjacent, and this masonry structure has a large opening. It reminds me of the Italian chimneys, just drafting up and out. Now we're up on the roof. We'll take a look at this particular solid fuel burning system on the rear of the home. It is a very large Class A system, all neatly contoured down to the roof flashing down here. This flashing ties into the granite slate. It comes up, and then this cone goes over the top. This appears to be an aftermarket piece, not part of the Class A. Now looking down the inside, it appears to be a 6-inch diameter, perhaps even a 5-inch diameter, and probably in need of some cleaning like most of our American chimneys. It has a little bit of a, like a cap that is wind directional on top. This mountain chalet, it's been modernized for selling coffee and so forth to tourists, much as myself walking down the mountain from the Matterhorn. I'll adjust the lens to look upwards there, and you can see this has a very short stack. I believe it's a small Yodel wood stove, just very short. The wood in the wood pile is about 8 inches, 10 inches long, 2 inches in diameter, very short and small. Let's take a little bit of a close-up. So this particular chimney, again, is very short. It's probably about 9 feet. The cap is a wind resistant cap, I'm sure, up here. And this particular design allows the exhaust to go up and bring in ambient air underneath the cap and kind of help diffuse the exhaust system. And that is in the 2nd floor up there. Again, it has that wonderful ash clean out technique that we've seen on other cabins up here, or chalets as they call them. So again, love those ash clean outs. Wish we could get those going over here in the US.